21-29-10 Royal Phoenix Clan's gathering for.
What?
You wanting to test his bloodline already? It hasn't even been a full minute since whatever you did to him. Do you think our bloodline can be improved so easily? The phoenix with the celestial phoenix needle remarked with a frown on his face. You'll know once you test his bloodline. Yuan replied with confidence. Whatever. If you say so. The phoenix proceeded to test Feng Haoyu's bloodline again. A moment later, when the phoenix saw the results, he dropped the celestial phoenix needle onto the ground, his face frozen with shock and disbelief. Well, what's the result? The other phoenixes pressed, their voices brimming with curiosity and anticipation. The phoenix swallowed nervously before responding in a dazed voice. 86.9%. What? His bloodline purity has improved by 0.5% in just a minute. Impossible. Test his blood again. The phoenixes urged. Picking up the celestial phoenix needle, the phoenix looked at Feng Haoyu, who was just as dazed by the result, and said, Excuse me. He tested Feng Haoyu's bloodline again. Impossible. The phoenix exclaimed a moment later. H's bloodline is now at 87.3%. The entire chamber fell silent as the phoenixes struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing. In just a minute or so, Feng Haoyu's bloodline purity has improved by nearly an entire percent, something that normally requires hundreds of thousands of years. What in heaven's name is going on? How can consuming a human's blood strengthen his bloodline? The leader of the Radiant Phoenix clan exclaimed. Though they wanted to believe it was some kind of trick, they knew that was impossible, as the celestial phoenix needle could not be deceived. Yet, a few of them soon reached a startling thought. Wait, a human's blood capable of strengthening a divine beast's bloodline? That sounds exactly like the immortal monarch's power. None dared to voice such a notion aloud, for it bordered on madness. The immortal monarch had perished many eras ago, after all. And yet, the more they turned the thought over in their minds, the more plausible it began to feel. Well, are you satisfied? Or, do you need more evidence? Yuan suddenly said, breaking the brief moment of silence in the chamber. One more time. Let me test your bloodline again. The phoenix with the celestial phoenix needle demanded, his eyes fixed on Feng Haoyu. Feng Haoyu quickly nodded in approval, as he, too, was eager to know if his bloodline had strengthened further. The other phoenixes swallowed nervously. A moment later, the results came back. 89.3%. His bloodline has improved by yet another entire percent. Heavens! Another percent. Even if the improvement stopped at this point, his bloodline still improved by 2% in just a few minutes. This level of progress is unheard of. How much more will his bloodline improve? The leader of the Ethereal Phoenix clan asked Yuan. He shrugged. Honestly, I have no clue. If you really want to know, you'll have to wait a few days for the final results. Weeks to be safe. Very well. I'll acknowledge your ability to enhance our bloodline. But what about your second claim? If true, it would be an even greater feat. Unfortunately, I cannot provide proof at this moment, as I currently lack the ability to do so. Yuan said. However, once I regain more of my strength, I will be able to begin attempting it. For now, you'll have to take me at my word. Regaining your strength? Just who are you? The leader of the Jade Phoenix clan questioned. Who am I? I think many of you already have a clue about my identity, so why don't you try to confirm it? Yuan responded with a smile on his face. Feng Lingyang of the Rising Phoenix clan was the first to stand up and open her mouth. Then if you don't mind me asking, are you related to the immortal monarch? What? The immortal monarch? Those who did not connect the dots exclaimed in shock after hearing his name. The atmosphere in the chamber quickly shifted, becoming heavier as the phoenixes anxiously awaited Yuan's response. You can say that. Yuan acknowledged. What is your relationship with the immortal monarch? Is he still alive? Feng Lingyang continued to question. Yes, the immortal monarch is alive. As for my relationship with him... After a brief pause, Yuan continued. I am the immortal monarch. The phoenixes in the chamber leapt to their feet, their eyes widening so much it seemed they might fall from their sockets. The revelation was so staggering and confusing that silence blanketed the chamber for several long moments. Then, the stillness was shattered with a sound of laughter. Ha ha ha, I can't hold it in any longer. You're the immortal monarch? That's hilarious, scoffed a handsome young man seated beside the leader of the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan. Yuan turned his gaze to the young man, who had risen to his feet and was now striding toward the center of the chamber, closing the distance between them. The young man stopped right before Yuan and spoke. If you're really the immortal monarch, you should be able to make me kneel with just your words, right? Try it. Are you sure you won't mind the humiliation? Yuan asked. Don't worry, I won't be humiliated. He confidently responded.
Why?
Because you're a primordial phoenix? The smile on the young man's face instantly disappeared. Oh, how did you figure it out? I purposefully suppressed my aura to hide it. Just a guess. Yuan said. I figured that if the Celestial Emperor wanted the 10 Royal Phoenix clans present at this gathering, he would also want the Primordial Phoenix to attend. Also, while you can hide your aura, you can't stop the others from giving you glances. I see, so the others sold me out. Realizing his cover had been exposed, the young man released the restraint on his aura, letting it surge forth and flood the entire chamber. 21-30-10 Royal Phoenix clans gathering, 5. So, you want me to prove my identity as the immortal monarch by forcing you to kneel, is that it? Yuan asked. That's right. Do you have any issues with my request? The Primordial Phoenix said. Honestly, that's far too boring, as it would take no effort at all. Besides, I've no desire to humiliate the Celestial Emperor's lapdog and give him yet another reason to hate me. The Primordial Phoenix trembled after hearing Yuan's words, and he muttered. What did you just call me? A lapdog? I am nobody's lapdog, you bastard. Oh, if you're not the Celestial Emperor's lapdog, what are you? His slave? Flames erupted from the Primordial Phoenix's body, weaving around him as they formed an armor of pure fire. You know what? I don't care if you're the immortal monarch or not. You're not going to leave this place until I teach you how to respect a superior being. So quick to resort to violence? Your temper is quite short, even by Phoenix standards. Yuan said with a light chuckle. I will not be mocked by a mere human. The Primordial Phoenix roared, thrusting his right hand, wreathed in true primordial fire, toward Yuan's neck. Young master, Feng Yuxiang cried, instinctively seizing the Primordial Phoenix's arm. Her eyes burned with killing intent as she snapped. How dare you lay a hand on my young master? Do you have a death wish? The Primordial Phoenix sneered at her. This doesn't concern you. Of course, it concerns me. You're attacking my... It's okay. Yuan interrupted. His flames are too weak to harm me anyway. Not only did you insult me, but you dare to look down on my fire? The Primordial Phoenix trembled in anger. In the very next moment, his entire body erupted with invisible flames, so intense they warped the surrounding space. The true primordial fire instantly engulfed the chamber's center and swallowed both Yuan and Feng Yuxiang within its blaze. Just as dragons possess reverse scales that drive them into madness when touched, phoenixes, too, have their own reverse scales, their flames, which are their identity and pride. For many phoenixes, their flames are more precious than life itself. To have them insulted is an offense most people cannot fathom. Senior Feng Danyu, please calm yourself. We're still at the Undying Fiery Summit, which, regardless of your bloodline, forbids violence. This is a sacred rule passed down by our ancestors. The other phoenixes quickly warned him. Though Feng Danyu, the primordial phoenix, was seething with rage, he had not lost all reason. Regaining control, he swiftly withdrew his true primordial fire. Yet the damage was already done, and the phoenixes could only pray for Yuan, for no human could possibly withstand the true primordial fire. What? He's completely unscathed. When the phoenixes looked closer, their shock deepened, as Yuan bore no wounds at all, not even the faintest trace of a burn. How is that possible? Could he have achieved fire harmony? No, even that wouldn't grant complete protection against true primordial fire since it bypasses all fire resistance. Yuan ignored the shocked phoenixes and focused solely on Feng Daoyu. Since you attacked me first, I finally have a reason to mess with you. What are you? Feng Daoyu opened his mouth to speak, but before he could utter more than a few words, Yuan cut him off. Shut up. In that instant, Feng Daoyu's mouth closed. When he tried to open it again, he found he had completely lost control. He tried forcefully opening his mouth with his hands, but such efforts were also futile, almost as if his lips had been glued shut. The 10 Royal Phoenix clans swallowed nervously upon seeing this, but they continued to watch in silence. Yet Feng Daoyu refused to relent. In his struggle, he suddenly unleashed his cultivation base, revealing himself to be at the 7th level of the God Ascension realm. The moment he unleashed his cultivation, Feng Daoyu broke free from Yuan's command. That doesn't prove anything, he shouted. Then how about this? Yuan narrowed his eyes and commanded in a stern tone, his voice amplified by immortal qi. Lie on the ground and crawl around like a worm. He commanded. What are you? Feng Daoyu was cut off once more as his body suddenly crumpled to the ground, thrashing and writhing like a worm dragged from the soil. Of course, Feng Daoyu managed to break free within seconds, but by then, the damage had already been done. Is that still not enough to prove my identity? If not, then I know only one other way, and that is to forcibly extract your blood essence. Yuan said in a somewhat threatening tone. You wouldn't dare? Feng Daoyu exclaimed as he subconsciously backed away from Yuan. Yuan shrugged. You're right. Even if you are the Celestial Emperor's pet, I am not cruel enough to use such a vicious technique on you. For the last time, I am not the Celestial Emperor's lapdog, slave, or pet. Just like the 10 Royal Phoenix clans, I merely agreed to assist him. Oh, in exchange for what? I doubt you'd be willing to work for free. That is none of your business. If you don't want to tell me, I won't pry. Yuan said. Then, do you believe that I am the immortal monarch? Feng Daoyu clenched his fists tightly and growled. Yuan smiled behind his mask and said, I couldn't care less about how you treat me. I am only trying to prove my identity so the 10 Royal Phoenix clan won't have to worry about me being a fraud. Why? One of the clan leaders suddenly asked. Why are you trying to make us choose you over the Celestial Emperor? Can we not work with both sides? Because the Celestial Emperor and I are enemies and will likely clash with each other in the future. Yuan revealed calmly, dumbfounding everyone in the room. 21:31 End of the meeting. Wait a second. I must have misheard you. Did you just say you're enemies with the Celestial Emperor? The leader of the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan asked aloud, snapping out of her daze. Yuan calmly nodded. That's exactly what I just said. You're essentially asking us to fight the Celestial Emperor with you. This is much more than just being your follower. Do you have any idea what you're asking of us? Another leader exclaimed. I am aware, but I want to clear up one thing. Said Yuan. I am not asking you to fight the Celestial Emperor. I wanted to let you know that he and I will be fighting in the future, so you know what you're getting yourselves into. I'm not going to ask you to fight for or with me. Are you serious? Why would you even share this with us? What if we refuse to help you and side with the Celestial Emperor instead? Asked the leader of the Crimson Rebirth Phoenix clan. Yuan replied, because now you also know that siding with the Celestial Emperor may put you in direct conflict with me in the future. I won't force you to choose. If everyone here decides to support the Celestial Emperor, then so be it. And I'm not asking you to decide right this moment. I'll give you 1 year to choose whose side you'll stand on. Ha ha ha. The Primordial Phoenix suddenly burst into laughter. What's so funny? Yuan asked him. It's funny, because the answer is obvious. He said. Oh, enlighten me. Why would we ever choose you over the Celestial Emperor? So, what if you're the immortal monarch? You're nowhere near as powerful as you once were. And what makes you say that? Yuan asked calmly. The other phoenixes listened with curiosity as the Primordial Phoenix sneered. I know more about you than you realize, immortal monarch. I know that most of your reputation was built on the 9 Divine Supremes, and that most of your strength came from them. But now that they're gone, you're just another human cultivator. Sure, you might command beasts and enhance our bloodlines, but on your own you're weak. Hearing the Primordial Phoenix's reasoning, the other phoenixes found his logic sound and began nodding in agreement. He's right, immortal monarch. You were a nobody before you gained the 9 Divine Supreme support. Said the leader of the Immortal Ember Phoenix clan. That's why he wants us to serve him. He's desperately trying to replace the 9 Divine Supremes. Another phoenix remarked. I don't need a year to decide. I will continue being by the Celestial Emperor's side. Said the Primordial Phoenix. Yuan smiled faintly and said, You're right, my reputation spread far and wide largely because of the 9 Divine Supremes. But even if some of them are no longer here, their seats will not remain vacant forever. In fact, I have already begun looking for more comrades. And you're looking at one right now. Feng Yuxiang said with a prideful expression on her face. Wait, the way you said that, it almost sounds like some of the 9 Divine Supremes are still alive. Remarked Feng Yushan of the Heavenly Phoenix clan. Is that so hard to believe? If I, the immortal monarch, am standing right before you, why couldn't the others still be alive? The room fell into silence. If even one of the 9 Divine Supremes still existed in this era, it would be enough to shift the balance of the world. Wait, I just remembered. There's a rumor that the dragon goddess Yeo has returned. Someone suddenly exclaimed. I dismissed it as nonsense before, but given the circumstances, it might actually be true. I also heard of this rumor. Another remarked. Me too. Is it true? That dragon goddess Yeo is still alive? One of them asked Yuan. Dragon goddess Yeo was the strongest of the 9 Divine Supremes. If she were truly alive, she alone would be enough to handle the Celestial Emperor. However, Yuan shrugged and said, I don't know. What? The phoenixes looked at him with wide eyes. He continued, I have already said enough. Unless I am certain that you're going to be my ally, I won't reveal any more information. With that said, I'm going to end the meeting here. And just a reminder, the first 3 clans to swear their loyalty to me will have their bloodlines improved, possibly upgraded, as well as other benefits. Those who do so afterward will still have their bloodlines improved, but that's all. You have 1 year to decide. Without another word, Yuan left the undying fiery summit. What are you going to do for a whole year? Feng Yuxiang asked him. I'm going to consume the dragon ancestor's blood essence to prepare for the primordial realm. He calmly replied. What if the Rising Phoenix clan refuses to hand over the ancient seal and sides with the Celestial Emperor? If they side with the Celestial Emperor and become our enemy, we can only forcefully take the ancient seal from them. That said, I have a good feeling they'll side with us. Meanwhile, shortly after Yuan left, the 10 royal Phoenix clans remained at the undying fiery summit and began another meeting. So, what do we think about the Immortal Monarch's offer? The leader of the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan asked. It's a tempting offer, and I would have definitely accepted it without a heartbeat if he hadn't mentioned being the Celestial Emperor's enemy. Well, he did say that he won't make us fight the Celestial Emperor if we don't want to. Then why is he even trying to gain our loyalty if not to use us against the Celestial Emperor? Perhaps it's so that he won't have to deal with us alongside the Celestial Emperor? That actually makes sense. He's already fighting the Celestial Emperor. If I were in his shoes, I wouldn't want to fight our 10 royal Phoenix clans either. You lot can stay here and continue wasting your time. I'm going to return to the Celestial Emperor to report to him about our situation, said the Primordial Phoenix as he began walking toward the exit. 2132 Consuming the Dragon Ancestor's Blood Essence. You're leaving already? You don't care about who will choose to side with the Immortal Monarch or not? The leader of the Ethereal Phoenix clan asked, halting the Primordial Phoenix's movement. Honestly, I couldn't care less. If you're foolish enough to side with the Immortal Monarch and go against the Celestial Emperor, then you deserve whatever fate awaits you. He sneered. Then, without waiting for their response, the Primordial Phoenix continued walking toward the exit, leaving the chamber shortly later. Just as he left the building, the Primordial Phoenix noticed a certain figure approaching the summit. It was Feng Yuxiang. What are you doing back here? Forgot to say something? The Primordial Phoenix asked her in a somewhat sarcastic tone. Well, someone has to stay behind for those who want to swear their loyalty before the 1-year deadline, she said. Is that so? You're wasting your time. The Royal Phoenix clan will not side with the Immortal Monarch. You sound certain. Where's your confidence coming from? The Primordial Phoenix smiled and said, the 10 Royal Phoenix clans may have 10 different clans, but in the end, they all listen to the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan. As long as the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan chooses the Celestial Emperor, the others will follow. Even if that is true, there's no guarantee the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan won't choose the Immortal Monarch, said Feng Yuxiang. No, it's guaranteed that they won't. Feng Yuxiang narrowed her eyes at him. The Primordial Phoenix was showing such confidence that she couldn't help but worry. I would tell you more, but I am not foolish enough to reveal sensitive information to an enemy. However, if you leave the Immortal Monarch's side... Are you mocking me? Feng Yuxiang interrupted, her eyes flickering with killing intent. There's no reality where I will abandon my young master. Frankly, I'm insulted that you think there's even a chance of that happening. The Primordial Phoenix shrugged. Then stay with him. I'd much rather be the only Primordial Phoenix in existence anyway. Without another word, the Primordial Phoenix disappeared from the summit. Feng Yuxiang entered the building and returned to the chamber moments later. Did you forget something? The Phoenixes asked her. No. I am here for those who have already decided and want to be the first 3 to serve my young master, she said. I can also answer any questions you may have. Meanwhile, Yuan made his way to Feng Yuxiang's immortal cave, where he prepared to consume the Dragon Ancestor's blood essence. Before consuming the Dragon Ancestor's blood essence, Yuan activated True Dragon Awakening to assist with the process. Once he was prepared, Yuan poured the blood essence into his mouth and immediately closed it. However, he opened his mouth again the very next moment and released a dragon-like roar that shook the entire dimension. You have consumed the Dragon Ancestor's blood essence. Immortal Monarch's bloodline is reacting to Dragon Ancestor's blood essence. 9 dragon symbols has activated. 9 dragon symbols has begun refining the Dragon Ancestor's blood essence, enhancing its potency. The blood essence surged with such immense energy that Yuan felt his body swelling like an overfilled balloon. As always, it came hand in hand with unbearable pain, but by now, Yuan was accustomed to it. His tolerance had grown to such extremes that even having his limbs torn from his body would hardly faze him. While Yuan absorbed the Dragon Ancestor's blood essence, the Primordial Phoenix returned to the Supreme Heaven to report the situation to the Celestial Emperor. The Immortal Monarch, huh? The Celestial Emperor was not surprised by the Immortal Monarch's return. That man claimed to be your enemy. Is that true? The Primordial Phoenix suddenly asked. The Celestial Emperor fell silent for a moment before responding. Honestly, I don't consider him an enemy. Excuse me? The Primordial Phoenix raised his eyebrows in a puzzled manner. The Celestial Emperor continued. I have never met him personally, much less spoken to him, so I don't have any feelings or hatred toward him. However, he is someone that shouldn't exist, someone that I must get rid of. May I ask why? Asked the primordial phoenix. It is just one of my many duties as the celestial emperor. He calmly replied, offering a vague answer. In that case, should I eliminate him? The primordial phoenix asked. The celestial emperor shook his head. No, not yet. He's like an explosive with an overly sensitive trigger, and the slightest touch could set off a catastrophic detonation. Wait for my orders. I'll let you know when it's safe. I understand. What about the 10 royal phoenix clans? Although I'm very confident they won't leave our side, there's always a chance for something to go awry. While the 10 royal phoenix clans are very useful, they won't pose any threat even if they were to join the immortal monarch side. That said, I won't tolerate any betrayal, especially if it's to help that calamity. I can eliminate those who betray us, right? The primordial phoenix asked. The celestial emperor calmly nodded. Very well. A cold smile appeared on the primordial phoenix's face. Sometime later, after the primordial phoenix left, the celestial emperor made his way to his private world, where he'd spend the next several days staring at a screen that displayed several slumbering entities. The immortal monarch, the bastard who dared to lay his filthy paws on you, has returned. And as much as I want to rip his throat out, I cannot directly touch him, as my lack of influence could ruin your revenge. The celestial emperor's body suddenly stiffened as his eyes caught something in the display. It can't be, he muttered, his frame trembling. Though subtle, one of the entities had stirred ever so slightly, a sign that it was beginning to awaken. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 6 months had passed since the meeting. After the 10 Royal Phoenix clans' discussion with each other ended, they left the undying fiery summit to return home and continue discussing Yuan's offer with the rest of their family. 21:33 a month before the deadline. It's already been half a year, and not a single clan has sided with the young master. Feng Yuxiang sighed, her voice echoing softly through the empty chamber. The words of the primordial phoenix still lingered in her mind, gnawing at her optimism day after day. She couldn't help but wonder what would happen if none of the Royal Phoenix clans chose to side with Yuan and instead continued their allegiance to the Celestial Emperor. A few days later, the chamber doors creaked open and a lone figure stepped inside. Feng Yuxiang turned, expecting to see one of the clan leaders, only to be disappointed. "Oh, it's just you," she muttered, her tone tinged with disappointment. "What do you want?" Feng Haoyu bowed slightly and said, "I wish to swear my allegiance to the immortal monarch, or rather, to reaffirm my loyalty to him." "That's cool and all, but what about your family? Where are they?" Feng Haoyu let out a heavy sigh. "It's complicated. While most of my clan wishes to follow the immortal monarch, they can't simply pledge loyalty without first seeing what the others decide. In other words, they're waiting." "That's bullshit," Feng Yuxiang said with a deep frown. "Why should it matter what the others do? The 10 Royal Phoenix clans are separate clans, not one united background." Feng Haoyu shook his head. "You probably don't know this since you were barely with us, but despite the name, the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan holds the most authority. In the end, their word is what carries the most weight." "Why is it that way?" Feng Yuxiang asked. "Because originally, there was only one Royal Phoenix clan, the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan. But after the 10 Royal Dragon clans were established, they chose to expand their influence by mirroring the Dragon clans, creating the 10 Royal Phoenix clans. The Dragon and Phoenix clans had been rivals since ancient times. Unwilling to fall behind the 10 Royal Dragon clans, the Phoenixes established their own royal clans, selecting the most qualified among them to rise to that position. So you're telling me that unless the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan sides with the young master, the others will not do so? Well, it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. I cannot fathom why they would choose the Celestial Emperor over the Immortal Monarch. Yes, the Celestial Emperor is powerful and influential, but their bloodlines would benefit far more under the Immortal Monarch. Feng Yuxiang said with a sigh, shaking her head in frustration. "Honestly," Feng Haoyu replied, "while the Immortal Monarch was a legendary figure in the past, countless years have passed since then. To the 10 Royal Phoenix clans, who never had any direct ties to him, he doesn't really hold a place in their eyes." Hearing this, Feng Yuxiang fell silent. Unlike the Heavenly White Tiger clan, the 10 Royal Phoenix clans shared no ties with the Immortal Monarch. The Heavenly White Tiger clan's ancestor had been one of the 9 Divine Supremes, so their reverence was only natural. While the Immortal Monarch did have Feng Yuming, another primordial phoenix, she held no direct connection to the other phoenix clans and had spent most of her life wandering alone. Feng Yuxiang had to admit that, although the Immortal Monarch was immensely influential, his era had long since passed, And even during the height of his reign, not everyone chose to respect or revere him. What will you do if your family refuses to side with the young master? Feng Yuxiang suddenly asked. Feng Haoyu fell silent, his expression solemn as he pondered. After a moment he replied, honestly, I don't know. I may be the eldest son, but my influence in the clan is limited. There's no realistic chance I could convince them to follow the immortal monarch. And unless they exile me for my decision, it's not as if I could simply abandon them, either. While we're on the subject, do you mind if I ask you a question? Feng Yuxiang nodded. What will the immortal monarch do if the 10 royal phoenix clans, if my clan refuses to side with him? Will he go to war with them, too? I cannot tell you what he might or might not do, because I am not the young master. That said, he's a very reasonable individual, and he's not someone who will attack the 10 royal phoenix clans without a good reason. Even if we do end up fighting them, I can guarantee you that he won't make you fight your family. That's good enough for me. Feng Haoyu nodded. If we do end up fighting my family, what will I do? He wondered inwardly. Another 5 months slipped by. Yet, with only a single month remaining before the deadline, not one of the 10 royal phoenix clans had appeared at the summit, let alone to contend for the first 3 positions. Meanwhile, at the Rising Phoenix clan, the Grand Elder approached Feng Lingyang. Clan leader, have you come to a decision yet? There's only 1 month left, and as far as I am aware, none of the other clans have sided with the immortal monarch yet. No, not yet. She sighed. I apologize for being indecisive. I am such a useless leader. I want to side with the immortal monarch, but doing so will definitely paint a target on my back for the others to aim. However, if I don't side with him, we would not only have to deal with the immortal monarch and his powerful allies, but we'll also have to fight my son. Grand Elder, if you were in my position, what would you do? She asked, gazing at him intently. I would side with the immortal monarch. The Grand Elder replied without the slightest hesitation, leaving Feng Lingyang utterly dumbfounded. He smiled and continued, honestly, if it weren't for my position, just like the young lord, I would have already sworn my loyalty to him. That was a quick response, almost as if you were ready to say it at any moment. Can you explain your reasoning? She asked. 2130, for the 10 Royal Phoenix clan's decision. My reasoning, huh? It's actually quite simple. I know you're worried about the other Royal Phoenix clans, but once we side with the immortal monarch, their stance won't matter anymore. In fact, even the title of Royal Clan will lose its weight, said the Grand Elder. What? Feng Lingyang's eyes widened. His reasoning wasn't what she expected, yet the more she considered it, the more sense it made. The Grand Elder continued. Even if we're the only clan to follow the immortal monarch, the others won't dare touch us with him behind us. But if we side with the Celestial Emperor, we'll inevitably end up clashing with the immortal monarch, and if you ask me, I believe his strength surpasses the Celestial Emperor's. Is it because of Dragon Goddess Yeo? Feng Lingyang asked. Not just her. He replied. Though he didn't state it outright, I believe, based on his words, that other divine supremes have also survived. And if the immortal monarch defeats the Celestial Emperor, our Rising Phoenix clan will undoubtedly soar to the top, where we won't even need the title of Royal Clan. That's just pure speculation, and you can say the same thing for the others. If the Celestial Emperor defeats the immortal monarch, that would undoubtedly spell the end for our Rising Phoenix clan. It all comes down to whether you want to believe in the Celestial Emperor or the immortal monarch. The Grand Elder sighed. Feng Lingyang didn't give a response. Instead, after a long moment of silence, she said, I'm going to the Undying Fiery Summit. I'll come with you. Sometime later. Mother? Grand Elder? Feng Haoyu's face lit up as he saw the two enter the chamber. Feng Lingyang's gaze swept across the room before settling on Feng Yuxiang. Where is the immortal monarch? She asked. He hasn't returned yet. If you have any questions, I'll be more than willing to answer them. I would like to know why the Celestial Emperor and the immortal monarch are enemies. What started the feud between them? That's... Feng Yuxiang began, only to close her mouth again, realizing she had no answer to give. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact cause. But what I can say with certainty is that it was the Celestial Emperor who showed hostility first. He cursed my young master, even though they've never met each other before. Feng Lingyang raised her eyebrows and replied in a doubtful tone. The Celestial Emperor cursed the immortal monarch even though they've never met before? That's hard to believe and completely unreasonable. I understand your skepticism, and I am just as puzzled, but it's the truth. Have you heard about the incident at the Dragon's Spiral Mountain recently? You mean when the Celestial Emperor attacked the Holy Dragon Clan? I am aware of the incident, but nobody knows the reasoning behind his action. It's related to my young master. Feng Yuxiang revealed. Seriously? Those present stared at her with wide eyes. If you want to know more, you'll have to ask my young master himself. Feng Lingyang nodded. Okay. While they waited for Yuan to return, Feng Haoyu approached Feng Lingyang and asked, "Mother, has the clan reached a decision yet?" As you know, the majority of the clan are in support of siding with the immortal monarch, but in the end, it's all up to you. Feng Haoyu interrupted. I have also made a decision, but I want to know the reasoning behind their enmity first. Time continued to pass, and in the blink of an eye, an entire year had passed since the end of the meeting. A few days before the deadline, the other Royal Phoenix clans returned to the Undying Fiery Summit. Where's the immortal monarch? They asked upon their arrival. He's not here yet, but he should arrive soon, said Feng Yuxiang. Feng Lingyang, did the Rising Phoenix clan swear their loyalty to the immortal monarch already? The leader of the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan questioned her after seeing that she'd arrived before them.
No.
Are you sure? I heard that you arrived a month early, pressed the leader of the Imperial Vermilion Phoenix clan. So what? The atmosphere in the chamber grew heavy, tension pressing down on everyone present. But it shattered the moment the door opened, and a lone figure stepped inside, drawing every gaze in the room. However, it wasn't Yuan. What are you doing here? Weren't you clear about siding with the Celestial Emperor? Or have you changed your mind? Feng Yuxiang asked the Primordial Phoenix, who had just entered the chamber. The Primordial Phoenix sneered. In your dreams. I'm only here to watch the show, and to savor the disappointment on the immortal monarch's face when he realizes that he's no longer relevant in this day and age. He looked around the room and continued. So, where's the immortal monarch? He'll arrive as soon as he's done with his business. He's the one who made the deadline, yet he's the last to show up? It's almost like he doesn't even care. Calm down, little bird. It's not like I am late. A calm voice suddenly resounded. What? The Primordial Phoenix and everyone else in the chamber turned toward the entrance, only to see Yuan standing there, having appeared out of thin air. The hell? How long has he been there? I didn't sense a thing until he spoke. Everyone in the chamber was shaken by his complete lack of presence. This bastard, what has he done in the past year? He feels like an entirely different person. Though none of them could explain it, they all felt it. Something within Yuan had changed drastically, and he was vastly different from when they last saw him a year ago. Yuan ignored their stares and strode unhurriedly to the center of the chamber. His eyes swept across the gathered phoenixes as he spoke in a calm, clear voice. So, have you reached a decision?